And I promise you, you do not want your company's executive team deciding how research is going to be and developing that vision for you. I promise it's going to suck. There's going to be a lot of layoffs and a lot of failed like launches and failed directions. And then they're going to have to like hire a bunch of people back and they don't know why it didn't work because AI was going to do it all and whatever. This is our moment. This is our moment. So talk about the balance sheet of the hard. Well, what's some of the good with it? Hard is all this change with AI. The good is that everyone is right now open-minded because nobody knows what work looks like anymore. Everybody's open to anything. If you pitch a compelling vision for how you can contribute in a materially much more beneficial way to the what your organization is trying to accomplish, people will be open to hearing that.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Awkward Silences. We're here with one of our favorite all-time guests, one of our rare repeat guests. We've got Alec Levin, the one and only co-founder and CEO of Learners, and we're here to talk about all the things, all the research things.
All the things.
So thanks for being here, Alec.
It's my pleasure, genuinely. It's one of the things that has brought me a lot of joy over the years in doing all this learner stuff was like, there's been a bunch of people that we have got to like be in the trenches with, different trenches, but together for years and years and years and get to know each other and see all the growth and whatnot. And, it's been amazing knowing you for like already well over half a decade, I think. And, getting to know each other and work together and all these things and see all the things and go through all the things. So this is beautiful. This is great.
Likewise. And yeah, don't get me crying at the beginning of the episode. We have to wait till the end, but
Okay.
it's better to be in a trench together. That's for sure. So
I agree.
And that's what Learners is all about.
That's right.
Getting in there together. So
100%.
Yeah, we're going to talk about change. We're going to talk about navigating the constant change in UXR. And speaking of, the over half a decade, we've known each other and worked together. I think, change has been the only constant in that period. And indeed, it's the only constant in life, right? So,
yeah.
But what is, I think, new is the acceleration of change, the kind of change, right? The enormity of change, the level of ambiguity and uncertainty and all these things is like at an 11, where maybe before it was at like a 7 or something like that. So that is new, but I think we can, assume that change is with us, and the ability to navigate the sort of change and uncertainty is an important skill and will continue to be one for researchers and folks doing research. Agree?
100% agree.
Yeah.
Just something that I've been saying a lot recently along these lines. I've been in the worst ways possible introduced to all the fun in and outs of accounting and bookkeeping. Learners is now a multinational technically, which has been so fun to learn how to manage. But one of the things that has been interesting is just like everything is a balance sheet, right? You tabulate something here, there's an expense, but you get a thing, right? You generate revenue, but you have to
inputs, outputs, costs, benefits.
100%.
Yeah.
And I think like one of the healthier ways of looking at these moments of change is like, what's the balance sheet, right? In the sense of what's the cost? The cost is I'm losing my feeling of security. I'm losing the comfort of this structure that I've been operating in for a long time. And all that is hard and painful and genuinely for all of us. But let's look at the other side. It also comes with like unbelievable opportunity, unbelievable change, right? Yes, you do have people trying to do more research that aren't researchers. But guess what? You can write software now. You can generate prototypes now. You can do the PM's job if you want to. So like in this period of change, the hard things and the painful things are always more present in our mind because that's how our brains are wired. But it's also exciting too. It's also good stuff too. Yeah.
Well, Alec, before we dig too much into the future and where we, kind of see things going, maybe just to touch on how you got here and what's your relationship with research and researchers, and how did you get to this spot now with Learners?
Yeah. I mean, I love research. I love it as like conceptually, in principle. Um, getting to there's, all the messy stuff with research of, you know, the weird details, the contradictions that people have about things that they say, like all that is where the art is to me, and I think it's just a wonderful thing to try and unravel all these mysteries that are people that we try and learn about. And I think it's a really interesting, fun, intellectual thing. So I've always been like very excited and interested in that sort of stuff. And I haven't been a researcher for like too long now, but my way of staying connected is just spending lots of time with people who are leading research teams, who are students, who are new to the field, who've been in the field a while, talking to people about what the interesting challenges they're working on. And that's kind of how I try and stay connected to what's going on. Um, and even also like stuff that's like research adjacent, like talking to the vendors on what they're working on and where they think they need to take their products and services, talking to the hiring managers about what kind of skills they're looking for and what's changed there. So learners is in some ways just an embodiment of that. I think one of the things that I've found, uh, we, of all the problems our entire community faces, there are individuals who have the answers, right? They've navigated the change already. They just don't know you yet, right?
Yeah.
And like a big thing of what we try and do with learners is like, well, can we give you a platform to communicate this with everyone? Can we record it? Can we live stream it? Can we share it? Can we also connect you with other people so you can build a relationship with somebody that can benefit from that, from knowing you, and hopefully in a mutually beneficial way? Like those are the places where there's just so much opportunity to like really accelerate our growth and our development as a field, but we are not doing a great job at sharing, connecting with each other, talking about the things. The people who are working on really hard things are super busy. They're really locked in, but we got to get them talking. We got to get them sharing, right? And for everyone else, we got to be asking for help. What are the things we're struggling with? Let's be candid about that. Let's ask those questions. Let's be a little vulnerable. So I think that is just like this permanent challenge that I'm really, really excited about, because when you start, first of all, there's like no cost, right, of making a connection between people. There's marginal cost to like making content. Um, but the benefits are enormous, right? And they can compound too. So you're just getting 1 + 1 = like 45 after enough time. And so that's really exciting to me.
That's the balance sheet that the CFO's like.
Yeah,
Back to the
yeah.
balance sheet. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Hopefully
Low
it's in the
cost, high
revenue
impact.
column, not the expense column. Yeah.
Right. No, it's funny. 10 years ago, 7 years ago, when I would think about any kind of like trade event, business event, you'd sort of get this like networking hour, right? And it's like, oh, what a drag. And I'm like kind of here for the content. And I feel like that's really flipped. Maybe it was
Mhm.
COVID. Maybe it was the pervasiveness of tech in our lives. Maybe it was, event leaders like you and others really thinking about the experience of the event, both like getting good people together, making the event feel fun, creating organic feeling opportunities to network. But nowadays, it feels like this is why people are going to events. They're hungry for community and for finding those people that they can learn from, teach something to in a way that you really can't replicate any other way.
100%. I think there's like probably a handful of things going on here. Um, you know, One is there's more and more content than ever, and so people can maybe think that they can find different answers, and less connection. And especially with COVID, like we tried being alone physically and connected digitally. And I think people after a couple of years of that found that very unsatisfying, right? And there's something about breaking bread with people where you just feel like you know each other and you trust each other. And I don't know if it's possible to ever replicate that, online. I think also like a lot of the conferences pre-COVID, a lot of events pre-COVID, the way that they got companies to shell out big money for tickets was with like spectacle, right? Michelle
Right.
Obama is speaking
Bono's
at
here. Yeah.
Qualtrics's,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Bono's here, right? Like,
Yeah.
which
It's
could
like,
be really
okay.
fun and cool.
Yeah.
Um, you know, and a lot of conferences were boondoggles. I mean, you know, it's so hard to get an event off the ground, but once you do, some of these events were making an unbelievable amount of money, right? And um, for better or for worse, we came just early enough to beat COVID, but just late enough to not get to a stage where we were
Right.
able to do that. So we always had to be like nimble and responding to people and whatever. I think the amount of personalization content needs now to be great, like really great, is it's hard. So even if you look at our program, it's not like it used to be called UXRConf. We changed it to Research Week and broke it out into 6 distinct programs because I don't expect everybody to come and watch the whole thing. I just want you to come for the things that you are going to be like, this is for me. Um, and then the rest of the time, like making new friends, making new relationships, like that that's what everybody wants. And it feels good, and it in a fulfilling way, not in like the way like ice cream feels good, you know.
Well, hey, don't diss ice cream, but
I would never.
understood.
No. I think there'll be ice cream at the event too, so
There better be.
it'll
Yeah,
be
we
good.
love ice cream. We
There
love ice
better be
cream.
now.
Uh, Stick it in the coffee, a little affogato.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're talking to researchers all the time. Not a practicing researcher, but you got the cred. You've done it before. I mean, obviously AI, and let's talk about that. But like, what are you hearing? What are people excited about? What are they stressed about? Where are we on some of these kind of change curves? What are the vibes? What are the topics?
Yeah. I think there's like a handful, I don't know how big the handful is, but there's a handful of individuals that are like way out on the distribution curve of like this next level practice thing. And um some of the stuff that I've heard from them is like, I'm like, wow, that's a lot, you know? So, for example, obviously we know that AI tools can do, interviews and surveys and this and that. But they've really taken it to a next level where things are, they're designing studies where a lot of the synthesis can happen, automatically, and prototypes can be designed in Figma automatically, and then, code can be written. So instead of a research report, it's here's the PR that you should merge to production, which is
And
seems
researchers are doing this.
and yeah, and that is like a level that I could not have imagined even 2 years ago. Like that is seems a little insane to me. Um, I think there's like a lot of, but how do you get there and how does it work? And I think there's also a lot of slop, obviously, that's just like going through the motions, but there's not really anything behind it. And as I wish I could remember who said this to me, I can't remember. Someone said this to me, but I keep using it. But bad research doesn't stink, right? It's not obvious when it's crap, right? And I think one of the parts of the conversation that's really important is not just like, we're all going to wholesale change the way we work to this new way. I don't think that's going to be the case, but it's rather what are the situations in which where different ways of working that are now available to us all of a sudden make sense, right? So, there are probably a bunch of ways where you can take like a simple example would be churn surveys. And instead of just like every month you look at all the results and be like, maybe we should investigate this, maybe you should investigate that. Instead, you can have tools that are talking to churned customers, um, suggesting product changes, prototyping them out in Figma and coding them up, and then you can just review them. Like that is a situation in which some of these new types of workflows could work really well. But I don't believe that that is going to be something where you're doing discovery research, trying to go multi products. Like, I don't think that approach is going to work at all because it doesn't have the taste, the context, the intuition. All that stuff really matters when you go into an interview. I still think that it needs a lot more old fashioned way.
Yeah. So for discovery research, for the evaluative, for the big strategic, for the long term, long outlook stuff. Well, first of all, is anyone doing long outlook stuff anymore? It's like we're all living 1 week at a time here. Well, that's a good question. What does discovery research look like now that we're moving so fast and the future is so uncertain?
I think this is so this is a bit part of a bigger thing. I think discovery research is more important than ever, right? Like I think it's way more important. I think the positive way of looking at our situation is there's a bunch of like low-ish value stuff that we've been doing that we don't have to do anymore and that we
Yeah.
should be
Or we
glad to
can
give
do,
away.
right.
I don't
Or we can
ever
do
want
just
to do a
like orders of
usability test
magnitude.
for as long as I live. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't
Because
I don't
it's,
find
you went to
usability
your
tests
point.
exciting.
Yeah, well, they're not exciting. They're not bringing joy. And to your point, they're like have marginal utility, right? And that's why maybe you should keep doing them, but find a way to make it 10, 100 times more efficient. Yes?
But even so, yes, I agree with that. But like usability test is also something that I think AI might be better than us because I
Right.
can
So
only
maybe you
do
don't
10
call it a
10 a
usability
week.
test anymore. Right, right. And maybe it doesn't have
Yeah,
to be done
like,
by a
but
researcher, but
if an AI is doing 1,000 10-minute usability tests and is able to do it across all of our different customer segments with all the different demographic profiles, right? Like
synthetic
if I'm doing
users.
usability tests,
Yeah.
well, that's that's a technical question that I don't have an answer to yet. I'm not
Okay.
sure.
Okay.
I think there's a place for it, but I don't think it's that, but I'm not sure. But like for example, if you do usability tests with senior citizens, you will learn things that you will not learn when you're doing usability tests with a bunch of Gen Alphas, right?
Sure.
But we only do 10 at a time when we do a launch. So, like, are you really going to get a sample of senior citizens and Gen Alpha? No, you're just going to skip it. You're just going to do millennials. That's what they're easy to reach. Um, so like, I think, but I think the bigger thing, and this is, I'm excited about the Moonshot research program that Christina is doing because this kind of touches on some of this. But like, of all the things that our field suffers from, and there's a few of big doozies that we suffer from. One of the biggest ones, and probably my biggest problem is a lack of vision for like what we could be, who we could be. Now, I have a point of view of what this could look like that I think is exciting and compelling and whatever. But like, I don't know if I've ever heard people express this is how research could be done, right? this is
Mm-hmm.
this is the role that we could play, and it's exciting. And I think that like a lot of this AI stuff, the net result is we're going to stop doing a lot of lower value stuff. We're going to have to do a lot more of this really ambiguous, mysterious stuff that we're uniquely well positioned to do that I don't think AI will maybe ever be good enough at, but maybe I'm wrong on that. But like, can somebody paint a picture of what that looks like and then pitch it internally and pitch it to the community and say, this is what I'm excited about. This is the way I want to work. This is what I think is better. And I'm going to fight for it. That'd be nice. I
Yeah.
haven't seen it.
Well, well, I would love to hear your vision because I do want to talk about, is research still a good career and for who and under what conditions and what does that look like? But I think, right, like in the first wave of AI is like, oh, I can do like 10% more stuff, right? Or I can, that's cool. But I think we're now in the moment of how do we actually as organizations change the way we work? How do we blow up the org chart, redefine roles, right? And so how does research fit into that? Is it AI can do this busy work, or PMs and designers are doing a lot of this like low value, right, kind of research that's embedded into the product development cycle? They can do that. So what's left for me? And is AI part of that, or is this just like old school artisan stuff? To your point.
Yeah. So I have my answers, but for anybody who hears that question
Mm-hmm.
and they don't have their answer, that's a moment for introspection. Why don't you like, I'm telling you, I had this experience early in my career where I'm like, this shit is easy. One day people are going to find out that like I don't actually bring a lot of value to the table, right? Because
Uh-huh.
to me, I'm like, all I do is talk, just have conversations with people and then figure out what they want and whatever. Now there's just like with software engineers who just very quickly picked it up at the age of 13 or whatever. They picked up, writing code. There's a way that your mind works that makes you particularly good at it because that's a skill. It's a real skill. And it was only really when I watched other people do interviews and I'm like, that was weird and terrible. And I can't, like, we didn't learn anything from that. Did I realize that, okay, like I have a predisposition to being good at that and why is that the case and whatever. But like, we should know what's left for us. It's not what's less for us, it's what's available to us, right? Right? We might lose X and Y and Z, like usability testing and writing surveys, but like we get all this other stuff now. And so like that should be really positive and exciting.
Alec, I see you've got a
Okay.
new background here.
New background update. Family kicked me out of the indoor part of the house. Now I'm in the
It's
outdoor part
America.
of the
That's
house.
America for you. You're kicked out.
Yeah. At least it's sunny outside. I'm enjoying the
Hey,
California weather.
yeah, that's awesome.
Um, but yeah, like, look, I think that we should be able to introspect and say, like, what are we excited about? What am I excited about? And what am I talented at? I think when you think about the skills of that matter, I think not a lo- there's probably some new stuff that's relevant, but a lot of the core stuff is the same. To me, one of the things that's always been frustrating in hiring processes that I've seen and been involved in is there's this over index on methodology that I don't care about. I think you can learn methods. I don't think that's hard. And I think communication is really important, but you get to learn that through the interview. The hardest thing, the thing that you really want to know is, can you evaluate evidence? Can you design thoughtful studies that generate useful evidence that you can synthesize with creativity and ideas into, like, here's where we're going to go next, right? That's the real job. That's really hard. Well, like, if that is still as valuable as ever, in my opinion. I think, I don't know how long it's going to take for AI to come for that. Maybe never. I'm not sure. I think it could be never. But I think this is what we're so good at, and it's still important. So why don't we give away all this other stuff and say, you know what? Why don't I go out into the wild, and I'm gonna do a bunch of research on how we go multi-product, and then I'm going to actually develop some prototypes, show them to customers, get the feedback on those prototypes, show present to the team, show the code that was written, show how all this stuff. Like, you can do all that now. That's
Yeah,
all available to us.
yeah,
That never was possible before. And if you're somebody in management who's like, do I invest in research? Do I not invest in research? If you're saying, hey, what our research team is capable of doing now is not just like understanding some customer needs and bring those insights back for like PMs to noodle on and designers to noodle on, but no, they'll actually go and try and develop a representation of these learnings and demonstrate that they have efficacy and that they work. How much more valuable is your team?
yeah,
Like, that
yeah.
to me is a lot of what future discovery research could look like, that would be really, really positive and worth investing in.
Right. Because a critique you would hear of research in the past or even present day is, right, where's the opinion in this? Don't write the insights need
Hmm.
to have opinions, a recommendation. Like, where are you in this?
Hmm.
You've talked to all these people. What do you think we should do? Right. Don't just give us this neutral sort of deck. Right. And so you take that a step further and like show it to me, right,
Yeah.
with the prototypes, with the tech. And so that feels like a big difference, is not necessarily in the research methodology, to your point, itself, although I'm sure there will be little AI ways here and there to speed that up. But
Yeah.
right, you're ultimately, hopefully, still talking to people, observing them,
Without a
analyzing,
doubt.
and then you can speed up or add fidelity, right, to those recommendations by doing a little build.
We have we have this like self-inflicted cage that we live in sometimes. And it's like, we don't have agency. We can't do things. Someone has to ask us to do things for us to do things. Someone has
Or
to do all the groundwork for us to
right, or it's
allow
like
us
you're
to, pave the road.
still halfway in the ivory tower, right? It's like no, you're part of this thing. This is industry, man, right? Like,
100%.
yeah.
And uh, this is one of our like diseases as a craft, that we are a little too docile, or a lot too docile, and just waiting for somebody to like create the opportunity for us. And I think I think it's time to grab life by the horns. There's a lot of change right now, and I promise you, you do not want your company's executive team deciding how research is going to be and developing that vision for you. I promise it's going to suck, right? There's going to be a lot of layoffs and a lot
Yeah.
of failed like launches and failed directions, and then they're going to have to like hire a bunch of people back, and they don't know why it didn't work because the AI was going to do it all and whatever. It, like this is our moment. This is our moment, right? Everyone is the so talk about the balance sheet of the hard. Well, what's some of the good with it? hard is all this change with AI. The good is that everyone is right now open-minded because nobody knows what work looks like anymore. We're open, everybody's open to anything, right? So if you pitch a compelling vision for how you can contribute in a materially much more beneficial way to the what your organization is trying to accomplish, you'll have people will be open to hearing that. They'll be like, tell us more. Like it's on us to paint the vision for how we think this could be, what we want it to be. And you can just DM people on Slack and say you'd like to have a conversation about the vision of this team and how we can work differently and how we can be more effective. You can just do that. You can email your CEO if you want. I don't know if that's a good
Yeah.
idea, but you could just do it.
But you could
Like,
certainly
let's just
do
do it.
one of my favorite things, which is talk to each other, right? Like,
Yeah. Oh yeah, sure. Right.
yeah,
Do it
like,
and then share your experience with other people so we can learn from it.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why are we so much like more scared of our coworkers than our customers?
You're like everyone you work with in principle is uh you have vested interests in your literally in your collective success, right?
That's right. That's right.
Your coworkers, if you're successful, they're more likely to be successful.
Mhm.
If they're successful, you're more likely to be successful, right?
Yeah,
Stock goes up and to the right if we all do the right things. So
that's
like
right. Lift all boats.
should be pretty open to this.
So I hear you saying you have a vision. You don't want to, tell everyone what their vision should be. That's cool. But what are some of the things you're seeing people who are starting to crack the code on this? What are they doing? What are they thinking about, right? They're
Yeah.
breaking out of the mold, thinking about the future, reinventing
I think
themselves and their practices.
yeah, there's a few things that I think are like areas for growth
Mm-hmm.
or for like opportunity. One is there's I think a lot of research that is relatively simple, but required a lot of humans before that doesn't anymore. That could be a gold mine for um, for organizations. So, for example, you could. It's probably now a sane thing to do to have like just constant behavioral segmentation research, right? Like, your marketing team wants to know certainly about all your customers' behaviors and how they differ in different segments and the way they communicate differently. And like, they want to know that because that'll make all their marketing efforts much more effective when they can tailor, in the enterprise, they use this terminology and they talk in this way. And so, and they work in teams that look like this. So we can actually, when we do our LinkedIn ad campaigns, we can have something that's going to be more effective. Um, so that sort of research is all of a sudden that's on the table. You can just have that running 24/7 probably. So
Yeah.
there's these like types of new kinds of research that would have been onerous before that now all of a sudden you can just spin them up. And those are great candidates for those like pure AI workflows, I think, right? Lots of data collection, a little bit of prying in the conversation. It's, every churn survey, how to process that information. It doesn't change. It's like a permanent interesting question with a repeatable and uh, uh, synthesis and analysis process, right? you know,
Yep.
why are they leaving? What did they say? What features are, like, what were the follow-up answers? Okay, cool. Let's like track that. I don't know. So I think that's one thing. I think another thing is um, there's like new technology. So I don't know what synthetic users and data is going to be good for yet. I've seen some stuff that looks like promising. It looks like for like packaging research, it's pretty good, maybe. So I'm told by people who have a vested interest in people believing that. um,
Uh-huh.
I think I believe that cross-functional research is going to make a lot more sense where research teams are setting up tools for other people to use. So, for example, I think like there's going to be a version of usability tests that software engineers deploy, right? And so when you're getting ready to push code from staging to production and you want to roll it out bit by bit, you might want to have these automated usability tests that go with it before you roll it out to every single user in the user base, right? So I think that's an opportunity. And I also think there's one of the reasons I think why research has had a hard time with executive buy-in is it's very hard to make our outputs visible in a way that executives want and manipulatable by executives in a way they want. And I think now's our opportunity to do to go and like build those dashboards. Like every executive of every company should know why they're competitive. They should know why they are losing customers in this segment or that segment. They should know what their lifetime values are of different customers and how value propositions can correlate with those lifetime values. Like nobody knows this stuff right now. Certainly not on how it changes. Like every day your product changes and our understanding of the customers is years old. And so those are other things where, if we could make that stuff visible, like so many people are just flying blind with very generic understandings of what's going on in the market, we can solve for that now. So those are some areas where we can and should be looking of like, where are places where we can do what used to be low value automated research with like really automated workflows to process what we're learning and generate outcomes from that. Where are new technology? Where can we experiment with it and bring it into our workflows? And how do we get more parts of the business able to access the things we're learning and manipulate it in ways that make sense for them?
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm very interested. I'm curious if you've seen anything we haven't talked about along these lines of product teams are shipping so fast now, like so fast. And that means if more stuff is shipping, we need more research. And by more research, I don't need more studies. I mean, like more insights, more ideas of like good things to ship.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you could ship without them, but we know how that goes, right? And so, how are researchers keeping pace with this? Is it with AI moderated research? Is it with fast methods, or are there workflow organizational changes you're seeing researchers make to be able to get that just in time research to get in there at that speed?
Yeah. I don't think anything that's like been really figured out.
Yeah.
Some companies that were big enough had these like rapid research teams,
Yeah.
um, which I think was imperfect solution to these problems. This to me is a great area where everyone listening can and should be thinking, how would I solve that problem today?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know the answer, and I'm probably not best positioned to answer that question because I don't even we have our own little team that works in very weird ways, but like I don't know how like product teams are working today in the same way that I used to, 8 years ago. Um, and I think this is a supreme candidate for like, let's come up with a vision, let's
Yep.
try some things and see
Yeah.
what works, right? And
Yeah.
we'll iterate a few times, but like the technology is there. We can totally solve this. It's probably going to take a few swings of the bat, but like there might even be more than one answer. Like I really don't know.
Yeah,
Right.
because there's so many variables. But like I'm here, I'm a researcher, I have these fundamental skills that I
Yeah.
can apply to this unknown situation. And we're going to try some stuff, and some of it's going to work and some of it's not. But this
Look,
is a problem we're
and it's
solving.
super contextual, right?
Yeah.
Like
Right.
if you're working with a team of designers that live and breathe research, or even maybe just have an uncanny intuition about what people want, right? That's going to look very different from building in a heavy engineering culture, building tools for engineers where like the tool is maybe just mostly an API, right? Like, it's unlikely there will be one answer, I think. Which is why it's important we're like taking the reins here, right?
Mm-hmm. Well,
Pitching your
that's the
teammates.
thing. Take the reins, or someone's going to take them for you. That's it.
And
That's
it's
the
going to
whole
be
deal.
way worse.
It's way
It's going to be
worse.
so bad
Yes.
if non-researchers are taking these research reins, because there's so much that understanding and contextual knowledge that you have about how to do this well that they're just never been exposed to, right? I remember back in the day, way back when the way you did a user interview was you had a script, you had to print it out on paper, you had to ask the questions in the exact same way, or it wasn't high fidelity, or it wasn't, if it had no efficacy, which is insane because you need to build rapport with people. But I'd watch these designers like doing these, and I'm like, literally look up from the page and look at that person in the face. Like, just look at them for a second. And they're like super uncomfortable right now. And you can't see it because you don't
Right.
know. And you don't know where
Right.
to look. There's like, I'm telling you, there's many versions of that right now with all the people you work with, you don't want those people setting up this new era of research at your company for you. You gotta try and pitch it. By the way, if it works, it will be fantastic for your career. Like, so many benefits here. We just gotta try,
Yeah.
right?
100%. And like, not to be too woo woo about it, but you know, for like humanity, I mean, God, who knows what's happening with this AI we're going to have all over our everything. Like, I want
Yeah,
someone thinking about how I interact with it, right? That would be good.
yeah. The AI people are too the general people are not taking the AI stuff seriously enough, and the AI people I think are taking it way too serious. I had a conversation
Yeah.
with somebody, um, and I'm like I'm like, talking about all the jobs are going to disappear because
Yeah.
AI can make your coffee now, and I'm like, I don't want AI to make my coffee. Like, if I'm going to go order a cocktail, I promise you, I do not want it from a robot bartender, right? I want it from a human being, probably one that looks way cooler than me,
Tom
and
Cruise
like
cocktail.
100%. Like, what are we talking? And she's like, yeah, but what if it's $2? And like, no, I'll pay for the expensive cocktail. It's about the ambiance. It's not about the cocktail, right? And so if you're too wrapped up in it, you just lose sight of the humanity and the fact that we are not efficiency machines. We have, like, if we were, like, the makeup industry wouldn't exist. There's no premise other than like feeling like you look beautiful, right? And there's male versions of this too, obviously. But there's all sorts of things that we do for our sense of self-worth and ego. I remember there's a company I did some consulting for that did like disappearing tattoos, right? And there is some fantastic interviews that I did there, but there was some people who would get these disappearing tattoos and put them on their body in places no one else could see. They were like completely hidden under their clothes. And they're like, tell me more about that. Like, what's going on
Right.
there? And like, there was like a thing during the presidential debate. I won't say who was, but there's a woman who had someone made a remark about her. And it was a meme thing, and she got this person got like this disappearing tattoo that said, like, I think it was nasty woman or something like that.
Uh-huh.
And it was
Uh-huh.
just something that she would look at. It was just for her to feel. You're telling me the AI is going to somehow do that? I don't think so, right? There's like so many things like that, and we will lose sight of all the humanity if we get all this like efficiency focus, and we'll lose opportunities, real market opportunities, real
Right.
product
Right.
opportunities. We have a role to play here. It's actually really important. Don't don't let Jesus take the wheel. You grab the steering wheel and drive the fucking car.
Don't let AI Jesus save the
No,
wheel.
yeah, Jesus is not going to save us.
Well, that's for fucking sure. All right. Uh, Anything else you want to jump into before we hit our rapid fire section?
I just want to say, because it's been a long time since we've known each other,
Yeah.
that we've seen the field grow, and that's been amazing. We've seen, all that you guys have accomplished. So amazing to see. uh I'm just so happy for your whole situation, and where you guys ended up. And like, it's so we've interacted with lots of people over the years, right? And it's so special to find people that really give a shit. And like, and you guys have been among those people, and it's been so great to see the growth and success. Because I think it's more prevalent in our space than it may be other spaces. But like, when you see people who give a shit win, like, hell yeah, this is what this is all about. This is the whole thing. This
100%.
is what all this life shit is about. So I'm so happy. I'm thrilled I get to be like your last guest. What an honor. And like, hell yeah.
Yeah.
That's all.
Oh, I'm crying again. But yeah, right back at you. I think the number one thing I hire for is people who give a shit. And I think, there's no way I would have been here at this company this long, both without co-founders and people that I work with that give a
Yeah.
shit, but
Yeah.
also this community of researchers. I'm telling you, they're cool people who care
Yeah.
about what they do, who care about other people. And that has really sustained my energy and interest over the years. So
Love it.
it's been awesome.
It's beautiful.
Favorite interview question. You don't interview people anymore. Favorite, I don't know. What's your favorite like icebreaker? Okay, yeah. You talk to people all the time at
Favorite
conferences.
icebreaker.
Yeah. What's your favorite
Mm.
mingling icebreaker question?
I'm not even sure anymore. Like,
Yeah. You're just like, hey.
yeah, kind of.
Yeah.
I don't. I like asking people what's the most fun thing they've worked on recently. Like what Usually that gets people to open it pretty quick.
Yeah.
That's maybe my answer there.
Yeah. What are some of your favorite resources right now? I know you have Learners has events and content,
Yeah,
joinlearners.com. What else are you liking?
I know it's not popular in our community, but I love Twitter. I love Twitter.
Oh,
It's so
X?
great. X, yeah, whatever. I don't think I'll ever call it X. I like the name Twitter. It's so great. And if you can find, there's so many people there's not a ton of research people, which I think is a shame, but like there's tons of like, you know, designers and engineers and product people who just like put demos out there. And
Yeah.
it just shows you like so much of what's new and what's possible. And I think that in general, researchers we're looking a lot inside, and there's time and space for that. But I think there's a lot we could learn by looking outside of our field at what everyone else is doing. And I think that that's probably one of the biggest growth areas for us.
Looking
Yeah.
outside.
Okay. You don't have to.
No,
YouTube.
no.
YouTube's
No,
good
I'm
too.
just teasing, just teasing. All
Yeah.
right. Excellent. Any good handles? Any people you follow? Are you following like hashtags? How are you finding good stuff?
No hashtags. Mostly people.
People.
Um,
Well, we can
there's
drop
like a
some.
bunch.
We can drop some in the show notes too.
Yeah, I think like there's a bunch of Anthropic engineers that are sharing a bunch of demos of stuff they build, like the folks that do the Cloud Code stuff. I think Erin Levy, who's the CEO of Box, shares a ton of really interesting stuff if you're working in B2B companies, for like how they're trying to reshape how their companies work. What else? There's the open claw guy who shares some. That's way too much for me.
Totally
I'm not
insane.
doing that.
Totally
I'm
insane.
all the
And
way
now
out.
Claude has their version now, I
Yeah.
see. Yeah.
I'm 0% in. I do not want currently an AI to be texting my wife on my behalf. Those are some good ones.
Yeah.
But yeah, just to like be exposed to what's out there.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. For sure. And to like open, right? Like as we were saying, like have a vision of the future. Hard to do that without diverging a bit. So
Yeah, for sure.
awesome. And then where can folks find you? When this airs, Research Week will be over. It will have been a week or two in the past. So there will be another one, presumably.
There will be.
Yes, where can folks find you?
Well, we're hopefully going to be going to more folks with a larger plan for more events and more locations for next year. So that's one thing. I would say you should definitely check out our YouTube, which will have our live streams. If you want to catch any of the talks that you missed, there's some really great AI content and content for IC researchers and managers and all sorts of stuff. You can have some really spicy career takes from managers who, at least a couple of which, are in a position where they're able to dispel some rumors and be candid, so that'll be fun. And then, LinkedIn, I'm sadly on LinkedIn all the time.
I
So
know.
you can
Every
find
time
me
I
there
log in,
too.
I'm like, why am I here again? But yeah, they got me. They got me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Well, thanks so much for coming by again, and congrats on the new San Francisco area home.
Yeah. Yeah. New home. Here we are.
See you soon.
See you soon. Great to see you, Erin.
You too.